Before we go further, there's some foundational things I want to tell you. So you've heard of Fard and Sunnah. And there's another concept I want to introduce you to. It's called Rukn. Rukn means pillar. Pillar. It literally means pillar. But what do the scholars mean by a pillar? This cup, it has depths where you can put liquid in it. It has a structure, right? And it has a handle in it. If I take the handle out, that structure breaks, right? If there's no depth in it to pour anything inside, there's no structure to it, right? Everything has a structure. So the scholars call things that are super essential, so those things are called Rukn, right? So for example, Islam, 5 pillars of Islam, 5 arkan of Islam. If you don't have one of those, you are not a Muslim. The Islam breaks, right? Makes sense? Arkan of Iman, the 6 arkan of Iman, Iman breaks. Similarly, for example, let me give you the rukun of a very simple ibadah. Simple in action. You stop eating, in simple terms. You stop eating at Fajr time and you break your fast, you start eating at sunset. If you don't do either of those correctly, your fasting breaks, it's no longer valid. So in these fiqh discussions, the scholars call something a rukn or a fard. Both terms are used, fard or rukn. They use for things that if you miss them, your act of ibadah is not valid anymore. You have to repeat it. So let me give you a common example. Salah. If you miss the ruku', is your rak'ah valid? No. So fortunately, the salah has many rak'ahs, but each rak'ah itself is a unit. It has multiple arkans in it, right? Qiyam, you standing up is a rukun. Ruku' is a rukun. We'll get there, inshallah, eventually, if Allah gives us life. If that structure is not valid, or it's backwards or upside down, then rak'ah is no longer valid. You have to repeat the rak'ah. Your salah is still valid because you have a chance still. You're still in salah and you can repeat that. Okay, but ruku', it has just one unit from beginning to end with the structure, right? From beginning to end. So that wudu is no longer valid. So you have to start over. Is it making sense? I'm telling you how scholars are thinking about this. Make sense? So where are the arkan of wudu coming from? Go back to the ayah of the Quran, because Quran is telling you the structure. And what else did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says? It's an order, right? The tartib, the order, is also a rukn. Makes sense? And then other scholars add other things, muwalas and continuity. We'll talk about it in a second. So I wanted to understand what a rukn or a fard is. It's an essential element in ibadah. Wajib is a next level thing, which something that is, you can say, I'm not going to call for sunnah or anything like that. I'm just going to give it a technical definition. So what is wajib? Wajib is something that you should do. If you skip it intentionally, you're sinful. If you skip it intentionally, you're sinful. But if you skip it forgetting it, you're not sinful. And your act is, the ibadah is still complete. This has nothing to do with wudu. I'm just giving you a general idea. Right? All acts of ibadah have the arkan, the rukuns that you have to complete for the structure to stay there. And the other thing are the wajibat, that if you intentionally skip them, you're sinful. But if you forgettingly skip them, you're not sinful. And your act of ibadah is still valid. Clear? It's important. This concept is going to come in use over and over and over as we go through the ibadah. Okay, especially in salah.